Hey folks. Well, as you can see, I just did my last dip in the lake before getting on the road to the airport. It's kind of a ritual. And what was kind of coming through, we just went out on the boat and took Annalise and had a last spin and a last swim. And what's kind of coming through is, there's this way in which this trip was so spontaneous. Katie found tickets, a couple days before we left, and then we got up here and then we got settled in, and it's pretty much, Annalise slept according to her normal schedule last night for the first time, and now we're flying back to New Mexico to a new time zone. And there's something that, and this has felt kind of consistent throughout the last several weeks, really, the last month and a half or so for me. I've talked about being in a kind of limbo state, and I am noticing there's something about being in this transitional phase, being in a transitional phase of some kind, that feels really healthy. It's a little disorienting, and it's a little bit, I would say that I sometimes get, it knocks me off balance a little bit in terms of like my morning routine and like waking up and meditating and doing qigong, and I was in a really solid rhythm with that for a good long time. And now that's kind of, I'm still doing it, I'm still doing my morning routine, but a lot of times it's a lot shorter than usual, or I do it later, or there's something about being in transition in terms of just our life. And we've had a lot of transitions. We've had the move, we've had getting out of the old house, getting into the new house, which is by no means complete, coming up here, Katie's new job. So there's all these ways in which like our rhythm is changing, and I find that I sometimes it feels like it knocks me out of my, I think I'm a creature that does well with rhythm. I'm a creature of habit, and I like to have my like ritually installed kind of morning rituals, ways that I just feel like I have a practice. But I'm totally aware, and I'm noticing ever more that having that interrupted and having some ways in which things get unpredictable is actually really healthy. It's healthy for me. It's healthy for, I think, most people. I can tell it's healthy for Annalise to just get kind of jangled out of her rhythm at home, coming up here and just spending a few days in a totally new place. It's great. It's great for her. And I think, so what's coming through with, in terms of all that is just a sense of keeping things, keeping an availability to that, a willingness to kind of allow that type of state change, phase change, to be there, to come through, and to be permitted in a way. I'm somebody who does well, like I said, I do well with routines, and I do well with my, I like to have my practices kind of installed in a way that I know I can consistently maintain them in my life. Things like piano is one of these things. It's got to be really regular. Meditation wants to be really regular. Qigong wants to be really regular. Most writing practices and other creative practices that I have also benefit from regularity and from rhythm and from showing up every day. So yeah, I think that's kind of a dynamic that I'm playing with right now, is how much am I leaning into what I know kind of my comfort zone is with these rituals and this regularity that I appreciate and that I think I benefit from, and how much am I opening the door and allowing, life to kind of throw a change up at me and adjust to that. Because so often what I find is the ritual and the regularity and the routine is where the kind of the grunt work gets done, the busy work gets done, the actual day-to-day, not busy work, but the day-to-day kind of like chipping away, putting one foot in front of the other, that type of work happens in that routine way, and it's of massive benefit. It's massively valuable in that way. But then, while I'm up here, all of a sudden, like, something can spark, or I get out of my rhythm for a day or so, and bam, all of a sudden, it's like a life change happens, or a perspective shift happens, or and I think, again, maybe I'm talking my way through this so meticulously because I am the kind of person who likes to be able to I like to be able to comprehend and understand and throw a net around experiences so that I can make sense of them or integrate them. And I think within that way that I am, I'm just trying to make space for some unpredictability, and to acknowledge that I also need that, and that's important and incredibly valuable, even if it is, even if it does take me outside my comfort zone a bit. So yeah, that's kind of just where I'm landing today, I guess, is in this time of transition. In this, we're about to fly back and be transitioning back into that routine again. And God, the way those transitions take place sure is different when you have a toddler, and their whole life has to morph around whatever change you're making. But there's something really cool about that, because now we're going to come back to our new house. It's only been 6 days since we left. We're going to come back to that, and we're going to be arriving again. We're going to be coming home to our new house for the first time, as opposed to moving into it. We're going to be coming home to it for the first time. That's a cool thing to recognize. We're coming home to our new home for the first time, and we get to go into that process now from that place of having been away and coming back to it. So I think there's just something about change creating a freshness that feels really important, and really I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for that. Grateful that we did this. I'm grateful to Katie for spur of the moment saying, hey, I found tickets, let's go, in 3 days, and like us just kind of hustling and doing this. There's so many, when you come up here to the lake, I mean, look, you're literally looking at water. You're literally immersed in water for hours at a time. That's really different than the New Mexico desert. That kind of elemental change, just like physical elemental change, is really enriching and really kind of cross-fertilizing, I think, with the way that we normally live, the way that I normally live. So making space for all of that, and opening up to, like, in what ways is my life actually inviting me to change in a period of transition like this? In what ways am I being called upon to become someone else? What is this? Whom am I being called upon to become by this new house that we're moving into? What is my work? How does this life change? What is it inviting my work to do? These are all the things that are kind of in my awareness right now as we go through all this kind of upheaval, very positive, but it's still a kind of upheaval. So yeah, that's where I am today, people. I'll talk to you from the other end of a 10-hour travel day with a toddler. But have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for receiving this from me. It is so valuable. Can't say it enough. But I appreciate you deeply. And I'll talk to you soon.